Hey, this is Beth Hart, rocking the airwaves with Andre Graziati and Backbeat.
All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
Thanks for taking some time out to have a chat again.
Thank you.
The last time we met, I said you were in the second springtime of your career.
The second springtime of my career.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if it wasn't for Scott, which I think is your Sir Galahad.
Yeah, he's amazing.
You even mentioned that yourself, you wouldn't be here.
I don't think I would be. I mean, I tend to be pretty dramatic and say a lot of things, but at that point I didn't really have... I mean, it is typical of anyone with bipolar disorder to be very self-deprecating and very self-destructive and self-harm. It goes with the territory. And I think at that point I'd had the disorder for so many years, starting as a young kid, that I was just wore out by it. And I think, you know, I was in that group that, you know, a lot of people take themselves out that have the disorder. 1 in 4 will successfully commit suicide. So I think I was at that place where it wasn't necessarily that I was going to do something like hang myself or anything like that, but I think I was waiting for anorexia and addiction to either OD or just my heart
That's
to
just
shut down.
the downfall spiral.
Yeah, and I think I was kind of looking forward to it, you know. I was kind of done. And, you know, Scott is this big ray of light. Anyone that meets him and knows him, he's incredibly positive and smiles all the time and has zero insecurity and is raised fantastic. Great parents, great upbringing. That he's just a very generous and very balanced and healthy person. That's just who he is. And for someone like that to fall in love with me, it gave me encouragement that maybe I wasn't that bad. So I kind of just used him as my beacon, you know, and decided to go into recovery. But it wasn't like it all became fixed. I mean, it took a lot of time, and of wanting to get well and then digressing and going back to giving up and going forward and back and forward and back. And then it finally just started looking like I was going to make it out of that, you know. But yeah, it was amazing getting to do the Live at the Paradiso DVD, because that was one of the first things I had done when I just finished making the Light On record, which I had no record deal to back it up. But I went ahead with the monies that I'd made from Atlantic Records, and also with help from one of the heads of Atlantic, who kind of took pity on me and said, "Yeah, I can't have you on this label anymore, but I want to help you out with your next record." So he gave me, you know, quite a bit of money. So I was able to make a beautiful album, a quality album, but I had nowhere to take it. And then we somehow booked a show in Holland, and this great amount of people came for us. I mean, great amount of people for someone like me, you know, it was a great amount for someone like me. And we were so surprised by it that we decided to come back the next couple of weeks later, whatever it was, and film at that same place. So I was just so happy that not only was I alive and wanting to be alive and learn how to maybe take a little bit better care of myself, but to make music again, it was just extraordinary. And Scott was right there, you know.
But I have to commend you for being so open about your situation and your past. I mean, you know, being in the public eye and everybody zeroing in on you, that, you know, that you're just so open and honest about it.
Well, I think, though, what that boils down to is that it's not my priority, my career.
Right.
And I think that there was a time in my life where my career completely was what represented me as a person. And when you do that, you're in trouble, because no career goes great. I mean, they go up and they go down and they go up. Even for legendary artists, they go up and they go down.
It's a roller coaster ride.
It's a roller coaster ride, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah.
So I think that after that, all that craziness, it forced me. You know, it wasn't like I was smart and decided to not put my career first. It was that it shocked me and made me go, wow, the most important thing really is your health and your relationships with people that you love. So when that changed and it became, you know, down on the list, it was funny. It actually kind of took off more so than it ever had. A lot of people think that I had a big fancy career in my 20s, and it wasn't that way at all. I'd done a TV show and And it was a show kind of like American Idol. And I didn't get any deal out of it. I didn't get any fame out of it. And it was nothing like what the shows of today are. And I was playing the street after I won that show, and I spent the money. I was playing on the street when I met my manager, David, who I've been with for 20 years. And then when I got with Atlantic, my first record did nothing. And then my second record, I had kind of a hit on AC radio in the United States with LA's song, but that's not enough to really have a big career. I mean, you got to kind of get a couple of songs happening, a lot of promo and all that. So my career actually didn't become a career, in my opinion anyway, until the last maybe 8 years. It started blossoming, and I think a big part of that had to do with obviously being lucky.
Right.
But another big part of that had to do with getting an opportunity to slowly experience
build up.
what it is to build up,
Yeah.
and not being thrown into it, and tons of promo and tons of work and tons of pressure, and your family, calling you every time they see some magazine or interview, or your family calling you every time they see you on a television and maybe giving you shit because I am open, and they don't like that. None of that, because I started over in Europe, and it was great. It was total freedom. And it was a slow go. It was several years in Holland and Denmark. That was it. And then Norway was added. Several more years. And then Germany. And that's 6 years right there. And then all of a sudden it opened up in England, and then I worked with Joe, and then it opened up in France, and then I got a deal for the States, and then it started opening up there, but it's still very small, what I consider a very small career in the States. So I guess it just depends on which shoes you're looking at it. I think some people could say, I don't have much of a career, and they'd be right. And then maybe other people could say, you have a pretty good career going, and they'd be right. It's kind of like in the eye of the beholder.
I would tend to agree with that in regards to the last 3 years.
Okay.
Where was it? You went to Georgia? You played Canada. I don't think you played Canada before.
Oh yeah, I used to tour in Canada a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
in my 20s. And then I started touring Canada again, I think 3 years ago.
And then, I'm sure you had a great time in Montreal.
Oh my God, what the fuck
What?
is it about how amazingly loving the Canadian audiences are?
We are.
They're just the fucking best. It's just all love, and it's all acceptance. I never feel like there's any judgment or any of this, which happens in the States a lot.
Really?
This happens in the States a lot. Show me. Impress me. Not all over the States. In the South, it's the best. But LA, New York, come on. Show me something.
We've seen it all.
And it's like, you know what? Fuck you guys, man. We're just fucking making music. Be cool.
2 years ago, I had said to you, you ever heard of the Byron Bay Blues Fest?
Yeah.
And the year after, you played there.
We've played there now twice.
Yeah, I know.
2 years in a row.
I don't know if it was that according to my suggestion, but anyways, it's. But I'm just glad that you went to Australia again.
Yes.
I think you had been there in New Zealand at the beginning of the century now.
Well, my first time in New Zealand was in the
2000.
late 90s.
Was it 90s? Okay.
Yeah, and then Australia also in the late 90s. And then I went back to New Zealand in the early 2000s.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking
But I
of.
didn't go to Australia again until a couple of years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. From what I've seen online and your website, that went very well.
Yeah, it went good. It went good. It was really fun. I loved it.
I was looking at your website. The piano you're pulling, that's the piano from your garage, isn't it?
No.
No?
Oh, you mean in my pictures?
Yeah.
How'd you know it was from my garage?
Because you told me about that 2 years ago.
Yeah, now
that's where you go to play to
Yes.
to get new ideas.
Now I have a real piano.
Okay.
Not a real piano, but it's a grand looking piano that I've had for years. It's
Right.
a Yamaha,
Yeah.
but it's not an acoustic.
Okay.
But it's a very fancy electric piano, like a
Right.
real piano.
Okay.
But it's shaped like a grand, and I've had that forever. And then someone gave me the white upright across the street. A girl gave me. She
That's
was
right.
moving. And it stayed in my garage until now we bought a house. So now that's in the actual house itself, which is great. And I just had a piano guy come to the house to tune it. My husband did that for me for my birthday.
Okay.
And the guy told us that piano comes from the late 1800s.
Wow.
And it was a very special piano because it was used in theaters to entertain people, also for the talkies, the early
for the
talkies, and all that. But then even before that, and there was a special pianos that were for that, and that's one of them. Isn't that cool? It doesn't sound great though when I play it. It's kind of in tune, but it doesn't. It's not great, you know. But it's just so cool looking, and I like the vibe of it. So yeah.
I thought that was funny when I saw that on your website. I've also read that you tend to wear out keyboards. You guys would rent some, and
Yamahas, the kind that I've been using, can take it. But I'll tell you something. Ever since I got on in-ears, I play a lot lighter on the piano.
Okay.
When I used to have wedges, I would bang, you know, because everything's so fucking loud. By the middle of the show, you're like half deaf. So in-ears, I play softer. I still hit it pretty hard, but I don't wear out my keyboards anymore. Like I wore out one key this past year or actually two keyboards, two keys. Mm-hmm. But before, I'd only play 2-3 shows and it'd be out, you know. So
you're just a heavy.
I'm
player.
a heavy player. Yeah.
You ever hear music in your sleep, or wake up and have to capture it? That doesn't happen.
So fucking rare.
Really?
Yeah. And then if I do, it happened to me. Not recently, where I woke up and I had a song in a dream, but I didn't think anything of it because I forgot it right away. And maybe that's happened to me twice in my whole life. Yeah, so I'm not someone who dreams the work. I wish I was. It'd make it a little easier.
Yeah, because I've heard some people, they jot stuff down and got the pen and paper next to the bed.
Yeah.
This new album, Better Than Home, you had a couple of setbacks during recording.
Well, we only recorded for 7 days, so it was all in a row.
But I think I heard you somewhere
You mean mentally? I had a couple of setbacks.
A couple of setbacks. What?
I went to the hospital twice.
I mean, I think that you're beyond humble.
What?
So my question.
I have a fucking ego. I fucking get my ego.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I mean, why were you still at this point not convinced by your efforts?
Well, I never am. I mean, I'm convinced about the songwriting. You know, I work really hard at it, and there's just something inside where I know when it's right. But what gets me nuts is when we're recording, and then I hear the rough mixes. And the only times that I've ever heard rough mixes that I didn't really get fucking freaked out about was the 2 records I did with Joe. And still I was hard on myself. I mean, I'm hard on myself. Most people are, you know. They do work and there's always something they wish they were better at, or wish they could grow in, or wish they could change. I mean, that's natural. I think I'm with a lot of people on that. But I get really funny about the way a song is mixed, and what choice instruments are brought out in the mix, and how that speaks for the song. It's just all about the song for me. And also about my voice. Not my voice sounding good. Mm-hmm. It's nothing to do with sounding good, but sounding right for the song. Mm-hmm. You're telling the story for the song. And I'm really hard on myself and others I work with about that. But I don't, it's not that I'm afraid of conflict, because I kind of like conflict on certain things. I kind of feed off of it. But when it comes to working with other people on music, I am very afraid of conflict. So what I do is whatever anger I have towards them or frustration I have towards them, I turn it on myself and I hurt myself. And that's why I went into the hospital twice. I was very, very upset. And I was very coveting of these songs. These are great songs on this record. I really believe in each and every one of them. And there's not one that I love more than the other. They're just special songs. So I wanted to make sure that the production was, you know, what was best for the material to be heard. And I think that the producers did a fucking fantastic job now.
Definitely,
but I didn't think so then.
Okay, well, there were some things that I noticed that he stuck up some horns in quite a few of the tracks.
A
and strings.
Couple of horns, and strings. I thought that Rob did an amazing job on the strings, but that's his thing. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, he's known for that in the business, so did a fantastic job.
Because you had done that with Kevin, too.
Yeah, but I don't talk to Kevin about anything. No. Kevin does everything.
He just does his thing.
All we do is come in, sit in our place, and he says, go. And we do our thing 3-4 times, and then he says, all right, we're moving on to another song. That's it.
Amazing.
And then you go away, And then a couple of weeks later, he has the most amazing mix.
Magic.
And it's fucking awesome. The only time I went head-to-head with Kevin was when I was doing my own original music with him on Bang Bang. Again, I'm very protective of the songs. Because the stuff that Joe and I did were such famous, like, you know, fucking crazy, amazing songs that had already proven themselves. Sung by the best artist ever. We weren't going to fucking compete with that. So if we could even get to a level where they were somewhat decent, fantastic. But those songs, it's almost like, have you ever heard that thing, you can't fuck up a really great song in the studio? A really great song, you can't fuck it up.
Well, you got to be pretty awful. Who would you say is your alter ego?
I have several.
Really?
Ones that work against me and
Do they have
ones
names?
that work for me. No, I haven't really named them. My psychiatrist tried to get me to name them.
Oh, really? Okay.
I haven't really done that.
Oh.
But yeah, I've got a bunch. Yeah. And so, like I said, some that I think really work for me and then others that don't. But as I've gotten older, they show themselves more off stage than they do on stage.
Okay.
So the older it used to be, I had one alter ego when I was a kid, and it was a male, and it was aggressive and fierce, and no matter what, you couldn't fuck with it. And that's what I used on stage to hide who I am. And who I am is, I think, very sensitive, very feminine, very, very insecure, scared of myself and of a lot of things. So I built this male fucking rock and roll fuck you personality. And I used that for a long time until that personality began to wear me out. And that's when I made a shift in the music. I first shifted to my California album. And then I worked with Joe, and when I worked with Joe, it was the first time I ever felt confident to bring out my feminine side. And then I did a record called Bang Bang Boom Boom, and I dressed like so feminine on the record. And that was really liberating for me. You know, it was like going the total opposite direction. That was me that suggested
It was
that.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I called, it wasn't an art director, it was the lady that was going to be dressing me. I said I want a 1940s theme, pin-up, very sexy, very feminine. And I'd never done anything like that. I never wore a dress on stage in my life in shows. Always jeans, bare feet, tank top, that's it. And it was so amazing at 40 years old to be wearing heels and sexy outfits and feeling really feminine and doing not rock music, you know? And so now with Bang Bang, it went to a different feminine side. It's not about sex. It's just about telling stories about life, what's personal, about family, about friends, about my relationship with God, about my relationship with my past, about dreams I have in the future. And it's just life stuff.
Right.
So it's not really about a sexy dress and heels or a masculine motherfucker coming out and saying, watch out, you know, I'm going to rock you. Not at all. It's just about telling stories. So.
Well, I think it was successful.
Well, I mean, it's not that successful. It's not like I've sold 1 million records. But the audience that I have is definitely responding and saying they really love it. And that's nice
And they're
to
dedicated.
See. Some of them are, I guess.
I think
Some
so.
get pissed because they want to see me rock more, and other people get pissed because they want to see me tell stories more.
Yeah, but that's part of an artist. You're supposed to change. You can't... Oh, fine, AC/DC is the same thing for 40 years. So, but I mean, you know, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I always see you as a character like a fireworks rocket, you know. I'm not sure in which direction it will go.
Yeah, I know, and me either. And the bipolar thing really fucks me up. Like, for instance, this tour, if this had been the first tour I'd ever gone on in my life, I would have said to my manager at the end of it, this is not the career for me. I'll never do this again.
Really?
It's been insane. We don't have a tour bus.
Okay.
And it's been all fly dates. So you're getting 4 or 5 hours sleep at the airport.
Wow.
And then, you know, and it's just stupid.
That's nuts.
And I got really pissed at my manager, who I've been with for over 20 years now, and so did my psychiatrist, saying, what are you doing, booking her on a tour like this when you know she's mentally ill?
Right.
So I went into total rapid cycling. So I'd be really paranoid, really angry one second, and then total self-hatred, want to die and kill myself the next. And it was been this way the whole tour, until I finally said, you know what, I'm canceling. And I canceled Finland.
Right.
And I spent 4 or 5 days relaxing in Belgium. And then we did a show, and I said to David, I can't do this anymore. You got to get me a proper schedule.
Right.
But then my doctor said, this is not just his fault. Yes, he's a moron for not working this out. But he said, but you are a moron, knowing that you have this illness, and you're not sitting there and saying, before anything's booked, I can do this and I can't do that. Because that's your job.
Right.
You know, you're not a little kid in diapers. You're a 43-year-old woman. You have to say, I can do this, I can't do that.
Agree or not agree.
Yes. And he goes, that's the most important first responsibility you have at your career is taking care of your mind. Because as soon as my mind goes, you come and see me at a show, this is what I do. I'm either crazy all over the stage, running, screaming, changing the set list, every song. I don't do what's on the set list. I change out another song. And you like can't keep up with me. Or I don't talk. And I'm totally depressed. And I don't say anything to the audience. And I play all dark, depressing shit. And then I leave. And it's like that, you know what I mean? It's like, I know I'm not a monkey and that's not my job as an artist. My job as an artist is to be honest.
Right.
But come on. I don't need to be drama bipolar on stage. It's my job to at least be sane enough to do my job. And that is just to, not to rock them, not to sweat them, not to trip them out, not to make them laugh, not to make them put their hands up. I don't have to do any of that. But I have to be well enough to have the responsibility of communicating with them.
Right. Entertaining.
They paid their money.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what's been going on with me. This tour.
Well, let's have a look at the album now.
Okay.
Better Than Home.
Okay.
Might As Well Smile. That sets the mood for the album, doesn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to have something that was like a light soul song to start off the record because it's such an album of ballads. So I wanted to have something with a little bit of energy, lightly start out the record. And I think that Might As Well Smile is really innocent, but has a smart intelligence to it at the same time.
Well, I think lyrically it works. It sets the tone for the album.
Yeah?
I think so.
Good. I'm glad you think so.
That was my impression.
Yeah.
Tell them to hold on. What's behind that? Hope?
Tell them to hold on is about being in a psych ward, and then at the end, when your brain starts to come back and you see the others that are still sick,
right?
You tell, because you know you're about to get out. As soon as your brain starts going, they kick you out. So you're telling them to hold on, and then I use all kinds of people as I use a beggar who's looking for a town. I use alcohol and smoking, cigarettes, but using them as their own personalities and just different things to try and say, look, it's gonna get better, it's gonna pass, so just hold on. But then the irony of the song is when it comes back at the end and says everyone's looking for someone to blame, they sharpen their razors, go out as they came.
Right.
That's not very hopeful. But what I accomplished in the song, which is what I wanted to accomplish, was a song that has hope but doesn't have a Disneyland fucking bullshit ending.
Right.
That's still honest about real life and the roller coaster of it, and that never stops. You don't ever graduate to a place where now you're gonna just have it easy for the rest of the way out. It just doesn't happen that way.
Well,
it's life.
You tried to quit smoking, and then that didn't continue.
No, I'm never gonna fucking quit smoking.
No. Okay.
Never.
Of course, then there's the songs, the ones that you wrote for your father, your mother, and Scott. Tell Her You Belong to Me, which it took a year and a half for you to write for your dad.
For my dad, yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard the story behind that one. It was a bit of a tough one for you. To get to finish the song.
I didn't know why I couldn't write the lyric.
Right.
I just knew that I thought the music was fan-fucking-tastic. I thought that the melody was fierce, the chord changes were something new for me. So I knew that the music was great, so I wasn't going to give up on the song. And then at some point, it became like a contest with some part of my brain of why are you so fucking scared to tell what this song is about? Because I didn't even know what it was about. I was writing some bullshit lyric that had nothing to do with what the song is now. And I knew that I was hiding because I knew I had something fantastic musically. So I must be hiding for the lyric to not flow.
Right.
And when I realized what it was about, I chuckled to myself and I said, well, that's why. That's why I have to
staring me in the face.
Yeah, I was just scared. Yeah.
Trouble. The track, I think it's great. It starts off, to me, my impression, it starts off as an Elvis song.
It's an Elvis song, really.
The way it starts, just the lead into it, I'm going like, this could have been an Elvis song.
Wow.
Yeah, and it kind of shows your feisty side.
Yeah, and it was written years ago. I wrote that song, I think, when I was, 36, something like this. Yeah, so I wrote it a long time ago.
Saint Teresa. Did I read about that? That's about a death row inmate? Or did I get that wrong?
Watching the movie. It's a couple of things, but really what it's about is I watched Dead Man Walking.
Okay, so that makes it's a death row inmate, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing movie. Yeah. moved me to beyond tears. So fantastic.
We're Still Living in the City. You wrote that for Scott, didn't you?
Yeah.
I had something in my eye listening to that song.
Did you like listening to
Yeah.
that?
You know why?
You know what? I thought
You know
they did
why?
a shitty job in the production. That's the only
you know
bummer.
why? Because I pictured the two of you and then our last discussion about, you know, at home and asking about you and cooking for Scott and talking about fishing. So I kind of had this kind of like this connection.
You remember everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had this connection. So I was like picturing the lyrics and you talking about it and then yeah. The mood that I'm in, to me, it has a '60s bebop feel to it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I wrote that years and years ago. I wrote it right around the time I wrote Trouble. And it's just a lighthearted song about love and being young and going out to clubs and kind of the street life. And, you know, it's just light. It's a lighthearted song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mechanical Heart. It says it all. You just listen to the song. It says it all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's your message to him.
Yeah.
Your Sir Galahad. As long as I have a song, who is reminiscing here?
Oh boy. So I never wrote a song about writing songs, right?
Okay.
So I came across this music that I was loving and had a shit lyric that who knew what it was about, and so I knew it was wrong. I was hiding in some way, and I was playing it, and then I realized I know exactly what this is about. This is about how when I am in writer's block, I feel like God is mad at me and he abandons me. Let's write about this. And one of the things that I do when I feel abandoned, and that is to hurt myself, get drunk, whatever. So in writing the song, it just perfectly sums it up for me, and I love it. It's one of my favorite songs on the record.
And the last song, Mama, this one's for you. I had something in my eye too because I associated that with my mother.
Oh yeah.
Ugliest House on the Block. Building a house movie. You said you guys bought a house.
We did. We fucking bought a
Great.
house. And we don't live at the ugliest house on the block. 15 years we lived in the ugliest house.
But see, yeah, okay, go on.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that, you know, we loved that house. We loved that house. We fell in love in that house. We got married in that house. I wrote Light On in that house. I wrote a lot of music in that house. My dog, Pia, grew up her whole life in that house. It's fucking awesome. But, you know, I was sitting out on my balcony and I was saying to my manager, you know, Dave, I may just fucking stay here forever. Mm-hmm. Because I don't have to worry about money. You know, we rent, no taxes, no nothing. And my husband said, I am not turning 55 years old in this house.
In this house.
And I would do anything for Scott. So as soon as I heard him say that, a light went on in my head. And, you know, I'm a fucking addict.
Yeah.
So I got on my fucking iPad, and I swear to God, a minimum of 6 to more hours a day, I looked at every single house that was for sale and all the inside, you can all the pictures in Silver Lake every day. And I did this on the road and I did this at home for about 5 weeks. And then I found the house.
Wow.
I knew it was going to be our house, and check it out. It had been totally restored and it had only been lived in by the builder who built it. And it was 20 years old. We walk in the house, first day of open house. Right. The representing realtor guy is there, and he says, "Hello, how are you?" I said, "Hello, my name's Beth, and this is my house." And I went to every room in that house, and I said, "Dear God, this is my house. No one else will make an offer but me and my husband. This is my house." And I did it in every single room. 2 days later, we made an offer. 3 days later, we got a call. Our offer was accepted. I also wrote a killer letter to the fucking owner, right? Totally kissed his ass and told him that I lived in the ugliest house on the block and that I would write a song about this beautiful house if he let me have his house, and I'd call it the most beautiful house on the block.
Is it on the next album?
No. I haven't done it yet. I'll probably never do it.
It will come.
But you know what? They accepted our offer.
Cool.
And no one else had made an offer.
Wow.
Woo, child!
It worked.
That shows the power of just...
Is the piano got a special place?
Well, both the pianos do. I have a whole studio downstairs.
Wow, okay.
That has a kitchen and a bedroom and a bathroom, and it's all windows. The whole thing is windows, and it looks over a garden.
Wow.
I mean, it's a whole different freaking deal. This is the
So
place.
then
man.
when you get inspired, you just go down to your recording area.
Yeah, exactly, and it's separate from the house, so I can't bug anybody.
Fantastic story. Well, I'm happy for both of you.
Thank you.
Title track, Better Than Home.
Yeah, that was the last song well, it wasn't the last song, but it was the last song of the songs I turned in that made it to the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So originally, I think you said you wrote 40 tracks and
It
something like that.
I didn't turn in everything I wrote,
No,
but
of
what
course
I
not.
did turn in had to have been about 40 songs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Man.
made another record 3 weeks after I got back from that record being mixed.
Right.
So another record's been done, so it'll be out for
So
next
in
year.
what direction is that? Similar to this? Better Than Home? No, let's go. What
It's different from anything.
All right, what can we expect?
It's more energy. It's certainly more energy. It's very jazz influenced overall. It's
Right.
got a few gospel things like most of my records do.
Okay.
But it's definitely more rockin'. Yeah. But not rocking like my old shit where I scream and yell at you. all the time.
Yeah.
Not like that.
I think you were trying to. I think you were just trying to overprove yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And keep people at hand's distance.
Uh-huh.
Don't fuck with me. That was that alter ego.
Yeah. Last thing, word association. What comes to mind when I say Hollywood?
Marilyn Monroe.
Classic.
Yes.
Cooking.
Oh God, fun. So much fun. And love. Fun and love.
Okay. I hope you got a barbecue behind the house.
We do.
Flying.
Exhausting. Scary pain in the ass.
I'll accept that. Last one. Birthday.
Oh man. What comes to mind is not a positive thing,
Okay.
but then there's guilt. Guilt. Yeah,
Guilt at birthday. Your birthday or someone else's birthday?
Mine.
Yours. Okay.
Yes, because when I have a birthday, I should celebrate the blessing of being able to still be alive.
Definitely, yeah.
But instead, I get in my ego and vanity and go, oh my God, I got lines here, my belly is not as tight as it used to be, I'm not as hot, or maybe I was never hot, maybe I was just cute and now I'm no longer cute, and I get into that place.
Mhm.
So I think guilt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beth, fabulous. Thank you.